Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 1321 Monroe Street here in Oregon City, located on the left side of the house. Got a 4-inch ABS cleanout, and that's as you face the house from the street. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is currently running. We're going to zero the foot counter out here at the base of the cleanout access, and off we go. Now we're going through an area here with some standing water, which we'll take a look at on the way out when the line's fully drained. Switching over to 3034 PVC pipe now. That has the appearance of a diameter change. I don't get a great view of the top of the pipe right now. Some of that's a light glare, but it looks like we might be transitioning to 6-inch pipe there. Quite a clean sewer line. There is almost no buildup to speak of in it. Very good example of how to treat a sewer line. And the main thing that keeps your line clean is not putting cooking oil and grease down it. Fats in general. That is the #1 culprit that will gunk your pipe up over time. And for instance, that belly there we saw a moment ago, thick grease buildup can turn a belly that has, the potential to contribute to a blockage into something that can indeed cause a blockage under more proper usage scenarios. Constricts the line down, and then you get standing water slowing things down. That coupling effect is not a great one. So, it's a very good maintenance item to keep up on, keep the line clean. It looks like we're doing a hard dive here. We're going to be seeing the main lateral in just a moment. It's a significantly longer sewer line than I thought we were going to have. We're getting out here almost 120 feet. Huge sewer line. That right there, it's hard to see because the water's coming from behind the camera right now over the lens, but it looks like we just dropped right into the main there. We're going to let the water drain. Yep, that's indeed the main. We're going to let the line drain off here for a second while we go locate. Alrighty, located the camera head successfully. I can't get directly on top of it. It's kind of off in some sticker bushes. But as you face the front of the house from the street, the line shoots up the left side of the house to the road, and then the line actually, if you go to the very end of the road where the kind of the guardrail is at and look just on the other side of it, you'll see a manhole sitting there. From the looks of it, I don't know that you have a main lateral going up and down the street, or at least when this line was installed, that may not have been the case. It would appear there's a main that goes up and down the right side of the property that kind of crosses the street going up and down the hillside. The line runs all the way over to there. So that's why the line is the length that it is. It kind of goes out of it, a little bit out of its way here to get here. But that's just how it has to be done sometimes. If the main doesn't go up and down the road yet, that's the only asset the line can reach. That's quite a dive there at the end. Anyway, very near where that manhole is at is where I'm picking up the locate signal. So just eyeballing this house. Normally, I would have kind of prefaced the video a little bit, like your flag lot sewer lines that visually speaking you can tell are going to have very long sewer lines. This thing I would have predicted would have had about a 65 foot sewer. So these long lines like this, I tend to try and manage expectations a little bit. When you have a line that pushes over about 100 feet, in my experience, doing almost 25,000 scopes, your likelihood of having a belly in the line, especially, in fact, multiple bellies, goes up quite significantly. It's a lot of ground to cover, and you got to get things just right to make sure everything is graded. So you've got some standing water out at this distance. At this distance from the home, bellies have very little effect on functionality, especially ones that size, where you've got barely 1/16 quarter inch of water. Thus far, the only spot in the line with standing water that's of concern is the belly I talked about at the very beginning of the line. You start getting out to 100 foot plus marks, especially in plastic sewer pipe that's nice and smooth. You have to really, really abuse your sewer line to get to a point where a blockage can happen significant enough that you can back up from that far away.
How's it going there?
Good. I saw spiders.
Okay.
A little bit of debris there on the sidewall of the pipe. All right, I'm doing some locates, just coming back in so I can make you a reasonable diagram that's not completely ridiculous. You'll see that on the report. It's not a schematic, it's just a rough idea. But right now we're sitting at the very front right corner of the driveway, right about where the driveway meets the street. At that front right corner, you'll see a skinny little patch of asphalt there, newer asphalt. That is where the line is running. And yeah, if you're newer to home ownership, I highly recommend keeping up the same habit these folks have been. That's not putting cooking oil and grease down the line. It's especially important when you have little people in the household that are still learning how to fold toilet paper and are balling it up. Grease buildup is a major contributing factor to blockages, and it's about the only thing you can do as a homeowner to maintain your line's functionality. Otherwise, you're at the will of nature and what it wants to do. Your pipe's underground, and not a lot you can do to control things, but that is one of the things you can do. Alright, so now we are going to the grass at the front of the house. So the line shoots up the left side of the home. Just before getting to the sidewalk, the line turns and then shoots from left to right across the entire width of the front of the house, crosses essentially the entire width of the driveway, and then just about before the line shoots out from underneath that right side edge of the driveway, the line turns and then runs over to where the main is at. A very unique configuration. My guess is it was the only way to get this line to a main lateral. Otherwise, my assumption is that the main was going up and down the street at the time this was done, and there may not be one still right now. The line would just be running straight out to the road. Nice part is you got a lot of downhill run here, more so than the average line grading out to 120 feet. We're going to come back in here and take a look at the belly we've got in the line. You know, if you took the same belly we're about to see here and situated it, 80, 90 feet out from the house, I'd hardly be talking about it. Your likelihood of him blocking and backing up from that far away, again, is near impossible in a 4-inch plastic line or 6-inch plastic line, unless you are abusing the thing like no tomorrow. And by that I mean flushing just wipes, paper towels, gunk like that down the line constantly. And the line runs into the little bark dust strip right up next to the house. About 2 foot 2 inches deep there, very shallow. And yeah, there's enough water in this one. This is one I'm going to recommend to fix on. You've got about 2 inches of water at its worst point there. And it runs from around 8 feet It finally tails off around 16 feet. By the time you hit 16 feet, it's tapered off to very little. But in order to fix a belly, you have to fix the entirety of it, not just the more significant parts of it. Yeah, you can see how it drops off to almost nothing by the time 14 feet is where the meaningful amount of standing water dissipates, but you'd have to take it to about 16 feet there to get the whole thing. You know, I'm marking this with white X's on each end of the belly. All right, there's some white lines in between the two X's just showing the span of the pipe. About 1 foot 11 inches deep at the start, about 2 foot 2 inches deep at the end there. The stringy stuff at the top of the pipe here, those are just cobwebs, those are not roots. We're gonna go ahead and reel the camera out of the line. Beyond that point there, you've got a couple very, very minor wonky spots. I mean, they're hardly worth talking about. In fact, I haven't even put notes on my report. They're all so far away from the home, they are just meaningless as it relates to flow. Anyway, right here along the, this line runs right along the edge of the house here. Then once it gets out just past the front of the house, it turns, shoots toward the driveway, and then turns again. And you'll see where that manhole's out there at the end of the road. Right in that area there is where the line terminates. Recommend a spot repair to correct the belly to improve flow and help prevent blockages from occurring. The reason this is a more concerning location, if that belly were further out, if a blockage occurs out at 80, 90 feet, you know, theoretically speaking, if it happened in a belly like this, you have to fill up an immense amount of sewer pipe to get back to the house. In doing so, you create a huge amount of head pressure. There are very few blockages that can withstand, you know, that much pipe filling up behind it without breaking loose before it gets back to the house. If you block up close into the home like this, you don't have that much leeway. So that's why I'm recommending the fix here. And in the world of sewer repairs, this is about as simple as it gets. It's under dirt exclusively, no concrete, and it's you're barely beyond 2 feet deep here, so fairly simple to correct. And if repairs are not done for some reason or another, I would recommend again, don't put grease and cooking oil down the line. You want to put as few obstacles between here and there as you can here in the main, especially through a bellied area where grease will concentrate. Don't be using flushable wipes, paper towels, things like that are going to potentially stop up and not disintegrate properly. You want everything going down the line to be stuff that readily breaks down and disintegrates quickly, so you don't get too much buildup in the line. And if the belly is not repaired, you want to make sure you're doing a rescope at about the 1 year mark. That's going to give you a baseline for how the line is handling your living habits. Everyone lives different from one another, so it's worth taking a look at it to see if you need to do any maintenance, cleaning, and adjust any living habits after looking at it a year later. And then after repairs are done, make sure a rescope is performed to check the work. It's very important to do that. You want to do that when the line is buried, not beforehand. You're not going to catch any settling issues until there's weight on top of the sewer line. This belly right here, for instance, had you scoped it with the trench open, would have looked perfect. You got to put weight on it to check things out. Otherwise, everything else in the line has good flow. All of it appears to be intact. Again, you've got a couple very minor low spots as you get a far distance from the home. Those things have zero bearing on functionality at all. As the line currently sits, it is a functioning sewer line, but it is draining slower than it should. That slow drain is what can lead to buildup and the potential for blockages to occur. So we want this thing flowing proper and under ideal circumstances.